So this is our second TryHackMe event. And right now we're going to finish up the intro to defensive security. And after that, we'll be moving on to the careers in cybersecurity. So uh, previously, we looked at intro to defensive security, and we talked about the different roles that there are in defensive security, like your SOC, your threat intel, digital forensics, incident response, malware analysis. And then we also talked about the different areas of defensive security and what they do. So those jobs and what they entail. And your SOC is just monitoring and detection and stuff like that. Then you have your threat intel, which is gathering information about threats and knowing how the threat operators act, and just being able to get information. It's like gathering information about threats so your company can be prepared against these different threats. And then we had our digital forensics and incident response. The digital forensics is just investigating crimes and cyber crimes. And then we have incident response, which we then had the four major phases of incident response: preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication and recovery, and post-incident activity. And we also reviewed malware analysis, which had the static analysis and the dynamic analysis, and we discussed the differences between those. So now we're on to a practical example of defensive security. So for our practical example of defensive security, it looks like they have this little website. I remember, like last time I said, I really enjoyed their screens here, like these little backgrounds that they make. It says here, you are part of a security operations center, otherwise known as a SOC, responsible for protecting a bank. The bank's SOC uses security information and event management SIM system. A SIM gathers security related information and events from various sources and presents them via one system. Hold on one second. I need to do one thing here. There we go. For instance, you would be notified if there's a failure, if there is a failed login attempt or a login attempt that is from an unexpected geographic location. Moreover, with the advent of machine learning, a SIM might detect unusual behavior, such as a user logging in at 3 a.m. when he usually logs in during work hours. In this exercise, we will interact with the SIM to monitor the different events on our network and systems in real time. Some of the events are typical and harmless. Others might require further intervention from us. Find the event flag in red, take note of it, and click on it for further inspection. Next, we want to learn more about the suspicious activity or event. The suspicious event might have been triggered by an event, such as a local user, a local computer, or a remote IP. To send and receive postmail, you will need a physical address. Similarly, you will need an IP address to send and receive data over the internet. An IP address is a logical address that allows you to communicate over the internet. We inspect the cause of the trigger to confirm whether the event is indeed malicious. If it is malicious, we need to take action. We need to take due action, such as reporting to someone else in the SOC and blocking their IP address. So we're going to go ahead and view our website. Okay. So we see this is our SIM. Inspect the alerts in your SIM dashboard. Find the malicious IP address from the alert, make note of it, then click on the alert to proceed. So if we look here, from the 16th. Okay. So we have a logon failures, specified account's password has expired. Then we have multiple login attempts from John Doe. And then we have John Doe successfully logging in. Then we have unauthorized connection attempt from IP address over port 22. Then we have successful SSH authentication attempt to port 22 from this IP address. So if we look at these events, it does look suspicious. So we see that we don't know what this one is. Like, we don't know who it is. Someone's account password expired. But what is suspicious is seeing multiple failed login attempts from John Doe and then a successful login event. And I'm going to assume this is 2 a.m. And then we see unauthorized connection attempt from this IP address. So that is suspicious. They were in John Doe's account. They eventually figured out the password. Then they got in John Doe's account. And then they tried to connect to something over port 22. And then they were able to do that. So we're going to say this is the suspicious event. So we have this IP address here. I'm trying to copy and paste it. It won't let me. It's the same one up here. So we'll just hit a quick Control-C. There are websites on the internet that allow you to check the reputation of an IP address to see whether it's malicious or suspicious. And if you've ever done this, it's like, what's my IP? And you can just put it in. There's also a specific one for Windows. I cannot remember the name of it. It's like IP config, but on a website, it's an interesting one. So we're going to go ahead and put in our IP address here. We're going to hit submit. And okay, it's telling us that it's suspicious. We see that the internet service provider is China Mobile Communications Corporation. We see their domain. We see that they're located in China as well. And the IP scanner is telling us that it's 100% malicious. So that means that they've had previous reports from people about this IP address. Maybe it's been, reported as abusive. There are many open source databases out there like Abuse IPDB and Cisco Talos Intelligence, where you can perform a reputation and location check for the IP address. Most security analysts use these tools to aid them with alert investigations. You can also make the internet safer by reporting malicious IPs, for example, on Abuse IPDB. Now that we know the IP address is malicious, we need to escalate it further. So we're just a SOC person. We know that we're a junior associate security analyst. So the next step is to escalate it internally at the company to see who we need to escalate this to. We shouldn't worry much if it was a failed authentication attempt, but you probably noticed the successful authentication attempt from the malicious IP address. Let's declare a small incident event and escalate it. There is some great staff working at the company, but you wouldn't want to escalate this to the wrong person who is not in charge of your team or department. So we've got a couple of folks here. We got Dominic Nash, who is a sales executive, Nadia Watson, security consultant, Carolyn Stone, an information security architect, and Will Griffin, a SOC team lead. Now, based on these job titles, we know it's not going to be Dominic, and we know it's probably not going to be Nadia, just because Nadia is a security consultant. It's probably a customer-facing role, or her customers are other users or something like that. The information security architect and the SOC team lead both seem like really good options. And I'm going to go with the SOC team lead simply because the information security architect seems like someone that would be building the infrastructure and ensuring that the infrastructure that's built is secure versus someone that works on my team in the SOC. So we're going to escalate to Will. Perfect. That was exactly who we needed to escalate to. You got the permissions to block the malicious IP address, and now you can proceed and implement the block rule. Block the malicious IP address on the firewall and find out what message they left you. So we have our IP from previously, and then we're going to hit block. So these are IPs that have been blocked before. And boom, they left us TryHackMe threat blocked. And that is most likely our flag here. We're going to hit submit, and boom, we got it. So if anyone has any questions, just, don't hesitate to chime in. Let me know. Let me know if I'm talking too fast or too slow or something like that. So we'll go on now to the careers in cyber. So this is quite a long one, and we'll just kind of skim through some of these. So introduction. Cybersecurity careers are becoming more in demand and offer high salaries. There are many different jobs within the security industry, from offensive pen testing, hacking machines and reporting on vulnerabilities, to defensive security, defending against and investigating cyber attacks. So why would you get into cyber? And luckily, TryHackMe has answered some of these questions for us. Why get a career in cyber? High pay. Jobs in security have high starting salaries. Exciting. Work can include legally hacking systems or defending against cyber attacks. Be in demand. There are over 3.5 million unfilled cyber positions. Okay, so now we move on to the next one. We're going to look at the security analyst. And this was one of the ones we looked at before. That was someone, I think in the previous lab, there was someone, or that was a security architect. I can't exactly remember. Security analysts are integral to constructing security measures across organizations to protect the company from attacks. Analysts explore and evaluate company networks to uncover actionable data and recommendations for engineers to develop preventative measures. This role requires working with various stakeholders to gain an understanding of security requirements and the security landscape. And TryHackMe, interestingly enough, has some rooms that can help you get some hands-on experience with potentially being a security analyst. It's the intro to cybersecurity, which is the one we've done now. They have pre-security and SOC level 1. And the SOC, if you remember from the previous one, we talked about briefly the role of the SOC and what they do and stuff like that. And it's on the defensive side internally. And that would be your SOC level 1 positions. As a security analyst, based on the description here, it looks like you'll be doing a lot of stuff. You can develop security plans. You can write documentation and measures taken in response to security issues. You can work with stakeholders at various levels and stuff like that within your company. All right, so we have security engineer, which we just went over security analyst. So security engineers develop and implement security solutions using threats and vulnerability data, often sourced from members of the security workforce. Security engineers work across circumventing a breadth of attacks, including web attacks, network threats, evolving trends and tactics. The ultimate goal is to retain and adopt security measures to mitigate the risks of attack and data loss. So TryHackMe also has some rooms for security engineer. It's going to be your SOC level 1, your junior penetration testing, and your offensive pen testing um, rooms. And we'll probably eventually get to those rooms. I just wanted to get us through the basics of cyber so we can go on to the more fun stuff, the more interesting rooms like that. And incident response, which is responding productively and efficiently to security breaches. Responsibilities include creating plans, policies, and protocols for organizations to enact during the following incidents. This is often a highly pressurized position with assessments and responses required in real time as attacks are unfolding. And for incident response, it looks like TryHackMe only has the SOC level 1, which makes a lot of sense. So incident response responsibilities, developing and adopting a thorough, actionable incident response plan, maintaining strong security best practices and supporting incident response measures, post-incident reporting and preparation for future attacks, considering learnings and adaptations to take from incidents. Okay, and now we're down to digital forensics examiner. If you like to play detective, this might be the perfect job for you. If you are working as part of a law enforcement department, you would be focused on collecting and analyzing evidence to help solve crimes, charging the guilty and exonerating the innocent. On the other hand, if your work falls under defending a company's network, you would be using your forensic skills to analyze incidents such as privacy violations. And incident response is collecting digital evidence, collecting digital data, the logs, and looking at disks and stuff like that, and reporting your findings. You're just reporting the facts, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I didn't hit the green on incident response. Malware analysis. This was the one we talked about a little bit the last time as well. Malware analysis work involves analyzing suspicious programs, discovering what they do, and writing reports about their findings. A malware analyst is sometimes called a reverse engineer, as their core task revolves around converting compiled programs from machine language to readable code, usually in a low-level language. This work requires the malware analyst to have a strong programming background, especially in low-level languages like assembly language and C. And that was when we talked about the carrying out the static and malicious code analysis, and just looking at how a malware is, like, what it's doing, how it's performing, is it reaching out to some endpoints and things like that in the environment. We have our penetration tester. Oh, and it doesn't look like TryHackMe has any rooms yet for malware or digital forensics. For our penetration tester, you may see penetration testing referred to as pen testing and ethical hacking. A penetration tester's job role is to test the security of systems and software within a company. This is achieved through attempts to uncover flaws and vulnerabilities through systemized hacking. Penetration testers exploit these vulnerabilities to evaluate the risk in each instance. The company can then take these insights to rectify issues to prevent real-world cyber attacks. And TryHackMe does have junior pen testing and offensive pen testing rooms for that. Pen testing is probably the most popular one of the security, cybersecurity fields. Seems like a lot of people really want to be penetration testing, and luckily, TryHackMe has some rooms for that. Finally, we have Red Team. Red teamers share similarities to penetration testers with a more targeted job role. Penetration testers look to uncover many vulnerabilities across systems to keep cyber defense in good standing, whilst red teamers are enacted to test the company's detection and response capabilities. This job role requires imitating cyber criminals' actions, emulating malicious attacks, retaining access, and avoiding detection. Red team assessments can run for up to a month, typically by a team external to the company. They're often best suited to organizations with mature security programs in place. And it does look like we have some learning paths for the red team as well. And so that's pretty much the difference between, I guess, red team and penetration testing, is that penetration testing is like a one-time thing and red team is persistence, it seems. And now we have a quiz. This room has provided you with a general overview of the different careers in cybersecurity. Don't forget, you can leverage online training to land your dream job in cybersecurity. To find out which security role suits you best, try our fun quiz, which you can access by clicking the View Site button. I wonder if I can give you guys a link to this quiz. Doesn't look like it. Because that would be a fun quiz to do. Start your cybersecurity journey. Oh, careers quiz. Here we go. Oh, okay. I can link you all this page. Yep, here we go. I'll link this in the cybersecurity channel so y'all can take the quiz and see what area of cybersecurity would suit you best. But that's pretty much it as far as the beginner rooms go. We just really wanted to get through that before we dive into hacking and doing anything else, just so we could get that out the way with regards to what cybersecurity is, what fields there are in cybersecurity, and stuff like that. Does anyone have any questions or comments about cybersecurity or anything in relation to cybersecurity? All right. So that's probably going to be it for today. And I'll figure out what room we'll go through after this for the upcoming weeks. I'm thinking since we didn't finish the intro to cyber. Oh, okay, I see. We have offensive security and defensive security rooms that we can go through. So we finished the intro to cyber. So next week we'll probably do web app and maybe operating system if we get there. And then we'll probably finish up the rest of this in the coming weeks. All right. That's going to be it for today. It was a really short session, but we were able to get through quite a bit of it. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or tag me or, message me or anything. I'm happy to help where I can. Thanks, guys.